But our hurricane coverage continues, and we're talking about protecting your property. It's something that's on the mind of millions of Floridians right now. And if the worst happens, our next guest says that he wants to make sure that you are prepared. Don Pogue is the vice president of the Jacksonville branch of Insurance Office of America. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
There's some interesting things we were talking about in the commercial break. Things people need to be thinking about now. You know, God forbid the worst happens and they have damage, but they should be thinking about when contacting someone such as yourself. What do you think should be on their minds?
Well, one of the questions we really get is, what about flood? Not everybody has flood insurance. If your home is mortgaged, the bank is going to require you to have flood insurance if you're in a flood zone.
Sure.
But you don't have to be in a flood zone to purchase flood insurance, and the homeowner's policy excludes rising water. So unless your roof's damaged or the building is damaged, any water from the rain is not covered, and then if it's rising, it's not covered. So we get a lot of questions about that. And
so ideas for those people, they could be calling someone such as yourself now to just get clarification on that. And if for some reason they aren't covered with the rising waters, you want to make sure you get your sandbags out, right? Make
Absolutely.
sure you're just 100% sure that the water, as best as you can, doesn't come inside.
Right, absolutely.
All right, what else are you hearing as far as questions that typically get asked and things people need to be thinking about?
The biggest question after that really is about deductibles and hurricane insurance. Hurricane insurance is sort of a nomenclature that the consumers come up with because a lot of deductibles are triggered by named storms. Depending on the type of homeowner policy you have a base deductible. An afternoon thunderstorm would have a base wind deductible of maybe $1,000. But a named storm comes through, you could have 2%, 3%, 5% deductible.
Of whatever the cost.
Whatever the value of the structure is. So if you have a $200,000 home, it's a $10,000 deductible if you have a 5%. So obviously you could sustain a lot of cost, right after the storm. It might help you to determine what you're going to do to make an immediate fix when you get back, whether you're going to hire somebody to do the work or try to do it yourself, depending on the extent of the damage. There's just going to be a lot of cost. When Matthew came through a year ago, a lot of people did not exceed their deductible, so there was a lot of sustained damage that just didn't have insurance coverage.
And you have to get those estimates, right, to find out whether or not you're going to exceed the deductible.
Yes,
so that's something, it's like you would like to prepare, obviously have your crystal ball, and heaven forbid, like we said, nothing comes by. But if it does, you have to wait, and that means kind of quickly get on getting the information, getting those estimates.
Get on somebody's list, because if there's substantial damage, it's going to continue to people get more and more scarce, the material gets scarce, and the price rises just because of the period of time.
Well, it's like we heard a second ago with ServPro. They said, hey, get on our waiting list. If you're not going to use us, we'll just call us and say, hey, never mind, thank heavens.
Excellent.
But it's good to get on the radar. You said something interesting, too, about insurance and medications and health insurance and the fact that there's a disaster area here in Florida. That kind of changes the ball game as far as getting enough medication that you would need to get through the storm.
Absolutely. A lot of people wouldn't think typically that health insurance could be affected by a hurricane, but when the governor declared Florida a disaster area, all 67 counties on Tuesday, it triggered things. And in the health insurance industry, typically your health insurance company won't allow you to fill your medications or refill them before they expire. So if you're on a 30-day or a 90-day and they're about to run out, you can now do that because the disaster was cleared. So in that trigger, while the stores are open, you may want to check your supply and get your medications refilled and get them up to date, because it could be critical if the stores don't open for a week or so, if you really need that medication.
And they would then be covered by the insurance.
They would still be covered by the insurance because of that, yes.
Do you recommend people call you now with questions that they have and say, hey, listen, I want to know what my policy says. Can you help spell it out? We're sitting here and we're watching this thing come our direction, right? And, there's like, what else should I be doing? So is there anything else that we should be asking of someone such as yourself?
Everyone has a different set of questions when they call, and we've been getting a lot of calls, but we have a mission at Insurance Office of America to serve the public, and we really want to serve the public. So even if you weren't insured by us and you wanted to call us, we can get you to the right people, or we'll answer your questions, because fear drives this, and we're all scared of what's going to happen. And certainly any comfort level we can help the public get at a time like this, we're more than happy to answer any question that they would come up with.
And I'm sure a website too. You know, if the lines get blocked, I know, you know, trying to call my insurance, it's tough to get through because, you know, there are other storms too that people are trying to get help for. Harvey over in Houston, you know, so it might be a trying time. So give you guys a call and you say you can help out. Absolutely, and by going to our website, we've got servers all over the country, so those servers are connected. So if one goes down, it'll redirect to another spot, and we're all connected to all the insurance companies, so we can direct them to them as quickly as possible. I think the industry itself right now is pretty prepared. They've really geared up for it, and I think the only thing you need to do is call your agent, call your people, and get the assurance if you feel you need it. There you go. All right, better to have the information is power, right? Absolutely. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate the time. Thank you. We'd like to thank the Insurance Office of America for coming on and making this segment possible. You can contact an IOA advocate by visiting IOAUSA.com or calling them at 904-448-9777.